Hello everyone, and welcome to the second of a series of Monster Train walkthrough videos that I'll be posting. Today we're going to be tackling another clan combo I haven't tried yet, which is Umbra and Awoken. Now for those of you who tuned into the last video here, you'll recall that I used the Pyre of Dominion on purpose last time. I decided that it makes things a little bit too simplistic occasionally. The Pyre of Dominion is very strong, and it often leads to games feeling pretty samey, so for the sake of just consistency and making the runs a bit more interesting, I'm going to be running random Pyre Heart from now on in the series. Of course, I did run Pyre of Dominion the first time, just to kind of show you if you are trying to consistently win difficulty 10 Titans, I would just recommend just running the Pyre of Dominion straight up. There's no reason not to, unless you're running a combination like something with Hellhorned, perhaps, or something with a Banished, where you're trying to get a bunch of Slay triggers. Pyre of Savagery might be pretty good for that, right? So, alright, so we'll just go right into it. Okay, so for those of you who are new to the channel here, I usually like to explain my thought process as I go through all of the choices that I make here. So you may oftentimes find that if you already know a lot of this, you can go ahead and skip around just a little bit here. So first of all, we're fighting Seraph Atronus, Chosen of Dominion. So last time we fought Savagery, today we're fighting Dominion. Dominion applies Corruption to your units on strike, so kind of similar to how the Titan of Savagery, the Seraph of Savagery, pardon me, has some sweep units sticking at your backline. The Corruption here is going to be pretty good at killing my backline as well if I happen to have a big one. What I'm looking to do today, if I can get a build going on, is probably getting Primordium some Regenerate, to hopefully make it so that he can pass on those buffs from Regenerate to whatever's eating the Primordium. So if you don't know how Primordium works, he's got Buffet 3 to start, and whenever he's eaten, that's the end of every turn, and he has 3 triggers of that eaten trigger, he'll add his stats to the user there. There's an upgrade for him that lets him also pass on his buffs as well, which hopefully I'll be trying to go into today. So the Pyre Heart we got, as well as Echo of the Time Father, so once per battle, select the heart to apply Frozen to all non-blight and non-scourge cards in hand. So could be pretty good if we happen to have some pretty high cost cards, which we may have a lot of in Umbra. There's a lot of X cards you may want to save for when you have a lot more energy, and we'll see how that kind of plays out there. So our starting cards are Space Prism. It's pretty generically powerful card if you ask me, especially early on. Having an extra space or two can really make the difference in just adding one extra unit onto a floor where you otherwise may not have been able to add a unit. Steel Enhancer's fine, and Crucible Warden is totally serviceable. I don't usually do too much work with him, but we'll see if we can do it today. Alright, first we'll check the artifact here. Interesting picks. Emblem of the Exiles. At the start of turn, the front friendly unit on each floor gains 15 health. That's pretty good if I was especially playing Awoken as my primary instead of Primordium as the champion. With something like Crucible Warden already having damage shield when on Gorge, which is again when it eats something like the Primordium, and getting that damage shield and also just having base high health, that could be good, but it doesn't really feel necessary. I'm not feeling great about Odie's Totem either, though. That 1 extra energy per turn is quite nice, but the -3 deployable is, you feel that. You really feel that. Especially since we have a couple 0-cost spells that we have right now, we don't need the energy as much as maybe other decks might. So even though I'm not super keen on the emblem, we'll see how it plays out. It's possible, depending on what we pick, that this can actually pop off pretty hard, especially if you find some other tankier units as well that just want to get progressively tankier, right? So we're going to go into the Forge here. We did find Superfood, which is the one I was telling you about. So again, this adds the health, attack, and status effects to the Eater. And the status effects being regen or whatever we can get from maybe some damage shield, potentially, if we can get some more damage shield spells to go between the two. Or we can get Buffet 5. I think Superfood is just one of the best paths for Primordium. Or rather, it is the best path for Primordium, if you ask me. It does suck, of course. Actually, something I'm thinking of now that I've already picked it, and something to consider for later on, is that one of the downsides of this card is that it also passes off the negatives as well. So the corruption that the Seraph applies to our units may actually turn to be a downside if it applies on our Primordium there, pardon. So we'll have to plan around that in the future as well. So again, this boss right here is probably my favorite boss to fight on floor 1. It's the easiest, if you ask me. I almost never have a struggle, whereas with the the savagery one, sometimes you have a bit of a problem there. So we're playing the trial here for Mark of Invasion. At the start of battle, enemy units appear on each floor. And I'm totally comfortable playing that because we have a bunch of plinks in our deck, which deal 2 damage to a random enemy unit twice. All the things that spawn have 1 health, so these are a pretty good way to deal with it without having to commit too much to the top floor. In fact, I'm only going to put a Shield Steward up there for now and just see how that performs. I'll put 1 Shield Steward in the middle. I'd rather have this Crucible Warden be eating my Primordium because he has a Gorge trigger when he eats the unit to gain that damage shield, which of course, you know, blocks 1 hit whenever. It's also good to have 1 unit on each floor with something like Emblem of the Exiles, because we want as many of those triggers as possible, right? So we only drew 1 Plink, so I will still hit a Plink here and put 1, I think, Spear Steward on the top to be able to kill that last unit before he gets to my pyre. I'm pretty comfortable just playing the Shard here just because of how powerful my start is against this particular trial. I'm not going to play the Magma Morsel here, and my reason for that is because he'll actually kill himself with the 9 attack he has on the spikes that this Cowering Sycophant has, which would mean that he kills the Cowering Sycophant, but I'd rather have the damage shield trigger for later on when we fight the boss there, right? So I'm going to hit a Space Prism here to give 1 extra space on this floor, simply because we may be playing multiple morsels per turn on this floor later on, but again, we don't need that right now. So I'll give the Magma Morsel to this Shield Steward. I don't need to freeze anything yet. Okay, so the Collector went on the top floor, so this Plink might hit him. Oh, it did. Perfect. So that's good for us. Similar to before, we'll play 1 Rebel Monster here. Probably not the Magma Morsel again. Just in the middle there. Pretty similar play to last turn. This is what I was talking about with the kind of passing on buff. So I'm actually going to restore the Primordium here, who took a bit of help from hitting a Spike unit earlier. And that'll actually pass the regen on to my Crucible Warden later on. So the question is, what do I do now? Definitely Chime of Despair, no downside to that. And these are both dying, so there's no need to do it. So I think I just Plink here, and great. So the random hit the backline unit, so I can just play this other morsel here and feel great about that. I think I will just keep putting more space on the bottom floor here, because I could potentially maybe put another like Train Steward. Yeah, the Spear Steward is 1 left in the deck there, and then still have some room to put some morsels. Pretty easy first fight, of course. I will put the Steel Enhancer on you. Again, this is Steel Enhancer is actually a pretty good card to have with this particular champion, because that free extra 4 attack and 4 health is, especially if you get it really early on, you can just keep passing that buff on, right? Okay, so I think I will Plink. I have a lot of mana, by the way, from all the morsels. I keep getting these morsels that give me energy, which I'm not complaining about, but I will Plink you, save you the shield damage. We'll put another energy morsel there. And we'll give you a bit of regen as well. Doesn't really matter where we put it since it's going straight to you anyway. Ooh, interesting. So something I didn't account for was that this guy isn't going to die this turn. It doesn't matter too much because my Crucible Warden, after having ED so much, and I'll just give him this, why not, is going to kill the boss by himself. So no problems at all there. He has quite a bit of health, honestly. With the Emblem of the Exiles here, with that Damage Gorger in the front, we do kind of have a pretty good tank already. Okay, so we get a Mortal Trade, Space Prism, and a Prismal Dust, pardon. So another Space Prism wouldn't be bad because these have Consume, so you only get to play them once. But honestly, I think it's the Prismal Dust. Applying a bunch of damage shield to the Primordium and then passing that buff onto the Crucible Warden will make him pretty immortal. Which means that I think we're actually going to go with maybe a Razor Sharp Edge here. So Razor Sharp Edge is one of my favorite cards from Awoken, for a wide variety of reasons. Obviously, even though it gives your unit -2, where's the card? Up here. Even though it only gives you 10 attack and -2 health, we don't mind that too much. We can apply that on the Primordium and still be totally fine, because this Crucible Warden will have so much damage shield anyway, it doesn't need the HP, and he's getting extra HP from this Emblem of Exiles. But something that's important to remember for those of you who are new to playing the game, that -2 health could be played on enemies too. So even though this is a card that can buff you, if you are fighting against an enemy, or just a random collector on a floor that you cannot kill, you can just deal 2 damage to it with this, and just kill it straight up. So okay, so what are we picking here? We could either be upgrading our spells, which could be the Razor Sharp Edge, could be the Prismal Dust, both good spells to upgrade, or units. We honestly only have the 1 unit to upgrade which would be the Crucible Warden, because we do want to be cutting these stewards as soon as possible. Getting an Umber unit would be fine, but honestly, I'm totally fine going for an Awoken unit, especially if we find something with multi-strike. Applying the Razor Sharp Edge to something with multi-strike is always a good play. Again, before we get the Awoken banner, we will open up the Merchant of Magic here just to see what we get. We get Spell Chain, Remove Consume, and upgrade a spell to cost -2 and gain Consume. So one thing that's a pretty good combination here that I see right off the bat that I'll probably be running is if you remove Consume from something like Prismal Dust here, you can actually then put this upgrade on that to give it -2 cost and gain Consume, but this cancels that out, so you get a straight up -2 cost and also remove the Consume. So that seems pretty powerful. It's probably what I'm running. Of course, I'll still see what I pick up here. We get some tank option and some damage option. So what do we need more? Honestly, probably the Shattered Shell. And my reasoning for that is the Awoken Hollow is pretty good, and we were originally intending to give him a bunch of regeneration, and his Rejuvenate trigger, which is when he's healed, does give power to the back unit. So the Awoken Hollow could be pretty good too, because again, the cycle would be you heal the Awoken Hollow, which gives something power, probably the Primordium, which gives, you know, the Awoken Hollow more power, etc., etc. That's a good combo. However, just giving a bunch of power to a Shattered Shell and having the sweep available is also extremely good. Even though this is a tanky unit, we are maybe dedicating a bunch of, bless me, a bunch of effort to this Prismal Dust here, which will apply a bunch of damage shield. So we kind of have tank covered already. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do the play I mentioned earlier. So Prismal Dust into -2. It's a very powerful spell. We could also give something +20 magic power and consume, which I'm actually pretty keen to do on Plinks here. Mostly because this deals the damage twice, so we're getting twice the value off of that. And giving something like that consume is not a bad thing. Some newer players especially will think that losing a spell like that is detrimental, but honestly, being able to play a stronger version of a weak spell that then removes itself afterward is actually better than just having the spell in your deck, right? So we will go ahead and remove one of the Shield Stewards, I think. Mostly because, again, we have a lot of tank in our deck, so between the Stewards and between the two types of Stewards, that is, I'd rather have a Shield Steward removed than a Spear Steward, right? So let's go ahead to the first battle, or I guess the second battle. And -1 energy per turn. That does suck a little bit, because we want to be putting a bunch of energy into our Prismal Dust, but again, this is already -2 cost. With an X spell, -2 cost does just mean that that's 2 extra damage shield for free, right? So let's start. This should be fine. Something else to remember is we have this Echo of the Time Father. I did mention that would be pretty good with X spells as well, right? So I hope I remember this. I always forget to use this, but okay. So the question now becomes: do we put the Crucible Ward in here, or do we put the Shattered Shell here? And that's hard to say. My initial guess would be probably the Shattered Shell. And then, yeah, I think what I'm going to do here is we have some cards in our deck that give us extra room space. These the Space Prisms, right? So even though I can't play everything on the same floor here, I'm going to let the Primordium buff up the Shattered Shell, and then if I get one more room space, I can put the Crucible Warden in the front to then finish off the Primordium. Are you going to eat that? I'm pretty sure is what he says. Or I could put him, I guess I could put him on top like this too. In that case, yeah, because I do have one less mana per turn, and I have the ability to play him this turn. So I maybe even just deal with the Shattered Shell there, Crucible Ward on the second floor, Shield Steward on the third floor, and then just let him eat any of the extra Plink morsels, because if you kill something with Plink, you get a morsel out of it, right? And if he eats morsels, he's very happy about that. So we did draw the Prismal Dust here. We also drew a Vengeful Shard. So I could, if I play the Vengeful Shard, it means that my Prismal Dust isn't going to be as strong, but I don't lose the 1 then. I think, honestly, giving this 3 damage shield is probably good enough. Because, again, that 3 damage shield isn't just 3 damage shield. It's going to be 3 damage shield consecutively. Every time this doesn't get hurt, it's going to pass on 3 more. So that's more than fine. So already we're seeing our deck kind of pay off here. I'm going to try to Plink this Collector. Again, we hit it. So, like I said before, I will start feeding this Crucible Warden some of these morsels, especially since this does 9 damage to this Flagellant, who I don't want to get to the Plier there. I will put another Space Prism here, maybe another Plink. Perfect. So got another morsel. I'll give it to you this time. And yeah, I definitely want to be enhancing my Primordium here with those buffs so that they get consecutively applied, right? Alright, so do you kill? Doesn't seem to be so it's a bit of a problem. He's only... it's a little more than 4. I would just apply the 4 here and be done with it, right? But I guess I could Plink. Plink does kill. Might as well. This will kill and leave some health on there too. So, give you more damage shield with that, take a Vengeful Shard out of my deck, and I think, again, Steel Enhancer, Razor Sharp Edge here. I think the Space Prism doesn't really need to go here, because I'm going to lose this Primordium this turn. That's why he's glowing like that. So I'll actually have a lot of room space there anyway. Bearing that in mind, I kind of want to... I don't think it matters too much. I think I have space to play everything I want. But I'll still put it on the second floor there. Now, let's see if we can win the bottom floor here. We do, actually. So, there's not much else we need to be doing here. I'll just hit end turn. Yeah. This is actually one of the worst bosses for us to be fighting with this particular setup too, because that boss has spikes, and so every time you hit him, you take damage, which actually drains our damage shield twice as fast, right? So we got a couple more X spells. We have Void Binding, which applies damage shield 2, Rage 6, and Ember Drain 3. Applying this onto Primordium is kind of a hit or miss, because even though it gives you all those great buffs, he does pass on the Ember Drain. That means you're basically never ever casting a spell that costs mana for the rest of the game. So, bit of a downside there. I could get another Prismal Dust, of course, but I don't think it's worth the Calcified Ember. Bearing that in mind, I'm actually going to take the Mind Collapse here. Okay, so we got Wildwood Sap. I'm going to take the Wildwood Sap here over any of these other healing or sting spells, because this is a status effect that I can apply onto my Primordium, right? So we can progressively give the front unit a bunch of regen, which if we do find another healing unit, or a unit we want to heal, that could be pretty good, right? So, bearing that in mind, we could go see if we could find an Awoken unit that might be worth it. Especially something like a Steel Singer. Like, if we found a Steel Singer, that's the rare in Awoken that gains permanent attack whenever you heal it. That would be fantastic. We could go for the health and a Merchant of Arms. I don't really know what I would be going for a Merchant of Arms, though. It could be good, because applying an equipment onto Primordium means that he will continue to pass on, you know, if there's stats gained from that equipment onto the unit that he's passing on to. And we don't really have, again, like I said, any units that I really want to be upgrading, although the Shattered Shell now, I guess, would be pretty good to give a juicy buff to, right? So, I think I am kind of going in on the Shattered Shell, but I will go with the Merchant of Arms here first, I think. Just to see if I can get something... Ooh, Quick! Quick is really good. Quick in this scenario means that my Sweep unit, which again attacks all enemy units, can kill a bunch of the backline units before they even deal damage. So that seems completely worth it. So even though, yeah, I was maybe thinking about getting equipment to put on the Primordium, this dagger is probably going onto my Sweep unit there, right? So I'm actually going to then upgrade this Swift Steel dagger to be deployable. And I will, I think, just take that to the bank, right? So I might be able to remove a card from my deck if I'd like. I don't actually need to. I was noticing I kind of ran out of units and had more space than I know what to do with. So I could use this remove a card from your deck to remove something like a Plink, maybe, which could still be good. Because Plink is a fine spell early on, but later on it does get pretty bad unless you have a lot of attack put on a Plink spell. I could even remove just a restore, but I am doing some regen now. So, I think I actually removed one of these Plinks, so we'll leave. And we get to go into the Celestial Alcove now. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we get Savagery's bonuses. So again, these are one of 3 powerful bonuses. I actually, folks will remember last time I actually had this Rage 5. And we also have gain 2 health for every missing, or gain 2 attack for every missing 1 health. Gain 2 attack for every missing 1 health would be really good if I took, the unit I'd mentioned earlier from the Awoken. Whenever you heal, he gets power to people, because they actually start off with a bunch of missing health. So that's one of the few times where I could see this being really good, but we don't have it. Titan Skin 5 is great as well, especially for a frontline unit, but again, we have a lot of damage shield. It's kind of weird. In my very last video, you folks will remember I took the Savage Heart here. and was pretty comfortable with it. But honestly, every time I see this event, I want to be taking that, I think. Especially since I have a lot of ways to protect this, to let it take damage with the damage shield there. I think I just take the damage, I just take the rage again and just let him scale. So I definitely think I'm going kind of all in on this Shattered Shell now, or at least partially all in, right? So now if I get Dante again, like I did last time, I'm not going to be very happy about that. I like Dante, but I'm sure you folks saw last time, he kind of changes your run whenever you pick him up. You turn from just having a deck that was nice into having a deck that is Dante. Something I didn't consider as well is that even though I want him to be taking a bunch of damage, I am still... Maybe I shouldn't have put the rage on him, now I'm thinking about it. Maybe Titan Skin 5 would have been better. Because we don't have the damage shield guaranteed, right? We only have it if we draw the Prismal Dust, and otherwise it's kind of bad. And plus we're giving him a quick, so yeah, that might have been a misplay. I might have wanted to put it on this Crucible Warden, and then maybe give the Crucible Warden multi-strike, but we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I guess we are getting the Emblem of the Exiles too, which is giving him that health, so I'm really glad I picked this now that I'm kind of eating my words on saying how much I was not really liking that, right? So we're going to put the 5 damage shield here now. We're going to spend everything on that because we are killing both the back line here with the quick. And we want to put as much damage shield as possible on this unit that we want to be carrying us now, right? So, okay. We don't need to play this because we don't have any units in hand. This makes my units cost more. And the honest truth is we don't really need to be playing the Plink either too much because we kind of want this Shattered Shell to be killing the back. He has a trigger where when he kills something he gets 3 extra power, right? So if he kills units, that's good for me. So I will Steel Enhance my Primordium a couple times, maybe give him some regen as well, why don't we? Play this because why not? And I think I still hit this just because having a Morsel is pretty good for this top unit. Because Archeon will probably go check him out next turn. Oh no, he's going top. That's fine. Ooh, is it fine though? Because now I don't really have a... Since I drew 2 curses, I don't actually have a great way to deal with this Fallen Champion. Even if I fully pour all my mana into this Mind Collapse, I'm still not killing him, right? So he's dying to 1 hit either way, so there's no reason to put a Mind Collapse into him. And I can't really put the Spear Steward here. He died to the Archeon before anything else. So I am taking 4 damage here. But I think I'm doing pretty well, all things considered. So what comes next? I think we put a... Since these guys are both going up a floor, I think I'm actually going to put a Spear Steward here, just for a bit more damage. And then we'll just put the Regen 5 here, since it'll be passed on to him anyway later on. Yeah, it sucks that we weren't able to place a unit on the top floor because this version of Archeon deals damage to the Pyre if we don't have any units there. But it is what it is, right? So, bearing that in mind, I'm actually going to put a Spear Steward on top here. Even though it will die to the Archeon, it does mean that if I draw maybe another Shield Steward, I can place him here as well to maybe not take some damage, right? Okay, so I think the play here is, this is dealing 23 to this guy, and he'll die next turn. But I think I actually hit a Blink here, because if I deal any damage at all, then this kills him, and then this kills him, right? So, and you're doing pretty fine now. This guy's pretty stacked now that my Primordium kind of went off on him. So I'm going to give him a Razor Sharp Edge here, because he's getting a lot of health anyway from this emblem. Okay. So I will put the Shield Steward up top, like I mentioned, just in case Archeon goes top. Although I guess this is the last wave, so it doesn't matter too much. I still think it's the right play. So I'll restore, put a couple Space Prisms in case I draw anything interesting, and give you a Morsel. Yeah, I think honestly, this Shattered Shell is doing some serious work already. Yeah, he's already soloing, so, you know, I could put the Steel Enhancer in this, but... And that's a lot of rage we're getting again, so... Yeah, 2 games in a row where we're getting a lot of rage on a single unit. But, you know, that's how it is. You have to recall, even if the lines are different, sometimes getting anything permanently this early on is just really too good to pass up. Speaking of which, we got Blazing Bolts, which is a pretty good card to be getting pretty early on. Basically, the way this works is it deals 40 damage to 1 unit, and it purges itself. Then it deals 40 damage to 2, purges itself, and then it sticks in 40 to 3, you know. So then that's the version you want to be upgrading. So getting this earlier on to be able to cast it is pretty good. especially since it does look like we're doing some big mana stuff, right? We have like a big mana Prismal here. Awoken's Railspike, though, is one of the best cards Awoken has to offer. So that's also pretty good, right? We also do have this Echo of the Time Father, so both of these are pretty good, because if we can't cast them on one turn, we can just preserve them to cast them when we actually have the free mana to do so. So this Pyre is okay with either of those. We already kind of have one X spell, I think. So even though the Awoken's Railspike is really good here, phenomenally good even, one of the downsides of the Awoken's Spike is it's not really great. It's okay if you draw a bunch of other X spells from it, but not the best in the world. You want to be drawing usually, you know, of course, like 1 mana cards. It's not bad though, either way. This is a really tough decision. It's definitely not the Cycle of Life. This card's fine, but I mean, it could be, because applying Spikes 8 to a unit, which could be by Primordium, does mean that the Primordium will continue to pass the spikes on to my front unit. So that wouldn't be bad either. I think I'm actually going to take the Awoken Railspike, just because there's more potential for that to be just extremely powerful. And I really don't want to take any Embers if I can't help it. So we got some kind of mid units, honestly. I don't really want to be taking another sweep unit that has a big health pool like this, because we kind of already have a lot of health with this Emblem of the Exiles. I think I'm going to take this Crucible Collector. My rationale for that is he's only got 20 health, so the lifesteal usually isn't great. But if I put him at the front of a floor, which he wants to be anyway because of the Gorge, he can get to some pretty high health. And if he gets to some pretty high health, the lifesteal will matter a bit more. I actually have a lot of board space because of these consume at us board space cards in my deck from the Umberclan. So I don't know if I need that. I think I actually take Hell's Flame, and my rationale for that is I'm running 2 X spells, 3 X spells even. Yeah. So this has an X spell, this is an X spell, and the what's it called? The damage spell I picked up is an X spell as well, Mind Collapse, right? So having the extra energy just to sink into that it's not really a bad thing. We can duplicate any card in our deck except our champion, so we could go ahead and duplicate the Shattered Shell, which has already got Rage 31. I don't know if we need to be doing that this early. But we could duplicate something like a Prismal Dust and just have a couple of these going on, and you either turn keep casting and put a bunch of damage shield. That could be fine. I don't really need the Pyre health too much. A Merchant of Trinkets would be fine, but I don't really have a lot of money for it. So I think I actually go to the left path here, get the money, get the Merchant of Magic. We actually got another Remove Consume, so we could... Oh, this is it. Wow, we actually got the same combo of Remove Consume and Gain Consume, which I think I do. And I think I do that on the Awoken's Railspike, because one of the... I've never done this, personally, but it'd be really fun if I could do it, and I think this would be a really cool build if I could do this. But that can potentially create an infinite. If your deck gets small enough with the Awoken Railspike that... especially with the -2 cost. So again, I can cast this for 0 mana and it will still draw me 2 cards, right? And -1 cost will be to either of those cards. And since this doesn't have Consume anymore, I can just keep doing that. And that is an infinite. So I actually think that's what I'm going to be doing here. Which means that I probably want to start prioritizing removing cards from my deck. Because the smaller my deck gets, the more likely that is to be happening. And if the deck gets small enough, it will just happen. So I will start removing some of these, I think I start removing some of the... I have a lot of board space, like I mentioned, so I think I start removing some of the Restorers. I don't have a way to get morsels in my deck too much, other than the Plinks. Oh, I actually didn't mean to hit that reroll. I'll be totally honest with you, so... Whoops. I wish there was a way to... I was trying to hit the remove card from your deck, but my mic was in the way. Ah, well, that's fine. This is still, again, my run is... The run right now is actually pretty stacked already, so I'm fine losing the 75 gold, even though it's not ideal. So yeah, I will do the play I mentioned, so I'm going to duplicate this Awoken Railspike, and we're going to try to see if maybe we can get something infinite, or maybe even just close to infinite. So, I think that would be more interesting, since we already did a kind of rage build with a Shattered Shell before. So we have Buffet 5 and Damage Shield 2. So obviously Damage Shield 2 is pretty good for passing on, because you can pass it on repeatedly, but we're kind of applying a lot of Damage Shield already with this Prismal Dust. Of course, that is if we draw it, right? We are more likely to draw it with all these Awoken Railspikes, though, so I think I might actually go for the Buffet 5 in this instance, so that I can maybe pass on more potential Damage Shield from the Damage Shield I'm getting from this Primal Dust, right? Or Prismal Dust, pardon me. Okay, So, front non-boss enemy in each wave gets Reanimate 1, and this is a Corruption guy. So, Corruption deals okay. It's actually kind of okay against us, because, again, it triggers Damage Shield. We want... Damage Shield is great against dudes that hit hard and hit you exactly once, because you're absorbing that hit completely, right? So, if they're hitting you multiple times with a bunch of Corruption, it's not great. However, Corruption does actually trigger Revenge, which will give my Shattered Shell more rage, right? So, we do have to play the Savage Shackles, of course. I will play the Shattered Shell again, and we have a bunch more mana now to work with, so. I think I will still give him the Dagger. It's still pretty good. Even though at this point, it may honestly just be that he's getting strong enough he can just kind of solo the floor. So yeah, this is a pretty good setup because I have a pretty good early game with this Shattered Shell, and then as I'm kind of building up this infinite combo, I can just rely on the Shattered Shell to maybe do some work here. So I'm gonna place I think a Crucible Warden on top because the damage shield persists, and the lifesteal, you know, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So I'll put a Shield Steward here just because I kind of want to get out of the deck, and even though it does fill up the room here, I do have these Space Prisms, so now if I draw a morsel or get a morsel, I can still play the morsel. So I'll put another Space Prism here as well, because this already kind of has some space up here. And I think I apply 2 regen to my Primordium, because you'll pass that on. Again, that's kind of cumulative, right? So the more regen I can get on him, the more he can pass. So speaking of, we did get more regen, so not going to complain about that. Now, a problem here is we aren't actually killing this Ravenous Zealot, so we do need to kind of consider that we're going to have to deal with him as he goes up. So bearing that in mind, I'm going to put a Spear Steward in here to get a bit more damage going on. I'm going to put the regen 5 here, and then I think I'm actually going to plink on the middle floor here. Because that, again, even though I'm not getting any morsel triggers, that still deals 40 damage, which hopefully will let me kill. And yeah, that'll definitely let me kill on the next floor. So we see a Collector here, so I'm going to go for the RNG. Yeah, sadly, I didn't actually get it that time. Plink did not hit him twice, so it's a bit sad, but there's not much you can do about it. Steel Enhancer on you, so we're passing on those buffs, and we have this Prismal Dust. So because the Plink didn't kill, this is kind of a... Some people will say this is cheating, and I actually can kind of maybe agree with some people. If your Plink doesn't hit what you want it to hit, you just reset, right? But I think it's fine. Especially on Covenant 10 and the like, you really want to be taking all the chances you can get. We're not getting the money from this Collector though, which is a bit sad. Does 0 damage there for fun and profit. Yeah, and we're getting a lot of kill triggers too, because again, even though he's getting attacked from the Rage, he's getting attacked from his kill triggers. So we did draw both the Awoken Railspikes. So I think we do take 1 damage unless we play this right now. I think because we're not killing this, I think I actually will just play the Awoken for the full cost, because, oh boy, that's a lot of cards, right? So, get rid of you. And these cost 0 for, if I believe, the rest of the game, if I recall correctly. So, that's even better, right? So, I'm going to play out a bunch of these and then draw a bunch more. So yeah, I'm really glad I picked up this Awoken Railspike now, because it's kind of going off here. Now, this guy is going to, what's he going to, 7? Yeah, he's going to 7, so if I can deal 7 more damage to him, that's the magic number there. So I'm going to not play the Razor Sharp Edge because I don't have any mana, because I spent it all in the Awoken Railspike. In that case, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so if I put a Steel Enhancer up here on this guy, and then plink him, he goes to 1. He goes to 1 because the Reanimate trigger from the trial we have here, so I can find another way to damage him with this Awoken Railspike. I actually do get the kill on him. I didn't, but I did find something even better, which was the Awoken Railspike again. Because again, this is the... So we're kind of going off here. Kind of storming off, as some people say. So we did actually find the Plink now, so... The Plink... Oh, yeah, I guess the Plink doesn't do it, because he needs to go down to 1 before I can Plink him. So he will go up and hit me for 8, I think. Just because of the Reanimate trigger. So we're seeing the downsides of having taken this this trial, right? Specifically, this trial is what's causing us to take damage. But it's sometimes worth the money just to take the damage anyway, right? So restore you a couple times. I think it's worth it here. Usually I'd be wanting to put the regen down here, but he's already got 5 regen, which is passing on. And these guys need health too, so... Alright, I think... Yeah, I think I'm actually going to start putting some stats top here instead of on the Primordium, because I want to be able to deal with this Ravenous Zealot as he ascends here. I will still just RNG the Plank. If you hit something twice again, I get a morsel out of it. So we take the one there, and then we take a bit more. Ooh, something else I forgot to remember is, so these units have a Harvest trigger, so whenever a unit dies, they gain an extra attack. Which actually includes themselves, strangely enough, so... I don't think I can... I think this is a similar situation in which I can't take him to 1 right now, so I can't actually kill him. Unless actually... Wait, if I can take this guy to 29 attack, then actually that does it, right? So, yeah, I put a Steel Enhancer here, and then I deal maybe like a tiny bit of damage, and then this will kill. So I don't actually need to deal a bunch of damage, I just need to deal 1 damage with this Mind Collapse. But... I still think I need to cast it anyway, because if I use the Prismal Dust, this will use all my energy. So, yeah, cast the Mind Escape, which doesn't kill. But this Prismal Dust is giving a couple damage shield anyway, so I'll put it down there. And I don't think we need to worry about this second guy. He's going to die anyway. Plus, I'm pretty sure that my my Shattered Shell here, yeah, he's soloing the floor. Just for the interest of curiosity, fun, and profit, let's just do something here. Awoken Railspike, Steel Enhancer. You're wondering why I don't cast these in the bottom floor. It's mostly because I want him to take as much damage as possible. But you're starting to see the power of the Awoken Railspike there. With all these one-cost spells in our deck. Great, so yeah, we're getting quite a lot of power here. I'm pretty confident in this run already. So we get another X spell in Prism Retrieval. So I don't know if I need another X spell. What I would love to grab is actually this Ember Cache. So the way this works is it consumes, does nothing, and then adds 3 excavated Ember cards to your discard pile. So you have to draw those. And again, those are 0-cost spells that give you 2 energy and draw 1. So that's exactly what I want. So because my Awoken Railspike will just be drawing a bunch of cards, drawing those into getting more energy into getting more cards is pretty gas, honestly. In the nature of that, and kind of what I mentioned about the Infinite, I actually am going to probably not take too many more cards. I passed there because any card I take is kind of a detriment to my deck, right? Unless it specifically serves the purpose of doing what I want to do with these Awoken Railspikes. So we'll kind of be hesitant on that. Even taking something like a unit here is a bit risky, because we have such a powerful front line already, right? So, okay. We do want to be getting at some point, though, actually something to do with the Awoken Railspike, because even though we're drawing all these cards, unless we can actually go infinite, all we're doing is plinking for 2 damage or healing 4 health. So we don't... not great. Truly. Equipment or room card, artifact, and artifact merchant. I think... since, again, we don't really want to be adding too many cards, so I think I actually go this path, because sometimes the merchant of trinkets can be pretty good. When you play 3 different kinds of cards in a turn, draw 1 and gain 1 energy, that seems pretty good. So we can play... The reason that's pretty good is because we have equipment in our deck, so equipment, spell, unit, for instance, or a blight sometimes you can play. Even something like a steward, and like all these are different types of units, so I'd be pretty comfortable getting this, because we want to be drawing a bunch of cards anyway. Again, the more cards we draw, the better our Awoken Railspike will get, because there'll be less cards in the deck. So, or for the Awoken Railspike to then go and grab, so we can go a bit more infinite there, right? Okay, so again, we'll just grab that, and we'll take an artifact here. At the start of turn, add a Sting spell into your hand, or trial rewards are increased by 50%. So it's still pretty early on, so I'm probably going to take this Golden Idol, and I absolutely don't want to take this Thorn Fruit. Reason being that the Sting spells will draw an extra card each turn, but they don't draw you a card that turn. And they add Sting spells to your deck, too. So every time you actually cast that spell, you're adding, or every turn you're adding another card to your deck, right? So that's kind of bloating my deck in a way I don't want. So I'm going to take this Golden Idol. I'm going to take a look at this armory here. Bloodthirsty Blade. Ooh, that's really good to be getting here. Glass Cannon Fragile is pretty bad to be getting here, even though with Damage Shield that does block. This Shattered Shell is getting pretty tanky, and that's kind of what we want to be putting our equipment on. So Bloodthirsty Blade gets 1 attack permanently whenever we kill something, which, again, this guy was killing everything anyway, so it's a pretty good combo to be getting this pretty early on. We're getting a lot of really good cards for specifically the deck we're trying to be making here, so even though, yes, that is a card I'm adding to my deck, it's another equipment, so Versatile Umberstaff maybe gets a little bit better that way. So 1, 2, and then if I play this, I think I draw a card this turn? Or is it outside of deployment? It might be outside of deployment, it doesn't say it, but I played a Blight, an equipment, and a unit, and it still didn't draw, so I guess that's how it is. And we'll do what I said before with the Lifesteal on the bottom, this guy on top, and then a Shield Steward down here for fun and profit. Again, we'll be removing the Shield Steward from the deck probably soon here. Okay, so, again, we can cast 3 different types of spells to draw a card and gain an energy, so... And yeah, we're absolutely destroying these units now, because we have exactly enough to start killing them without having to worry about anything. In a perfect world, probably what I'll be doing here is if I get a Merchant of Arms later on, I'll be merging the Quick here with this Bloodthirsty Blade, so that I can quickly kill everyone, and while getting the triggers on the Bloodthirsty Blade, right? So I only put the equipment down here for now, simply just to see if I could draw a card and to kill quick. But as soon as I draw this Bloodthirsty Blade, that's what I'm going to put on him, right? So we're actually going to see if we can draw it. So I'm going to play a Blight. I'm going to play a spell. Ooh, I guess I actually don't have a unit in hand, do I? So maybe we can't this turn. That's fine. We'll give you more attack here, and we will, I think, give you some regen, or regen, just to pass on. Yeah, so that's good. So yeah, Blight, and we did draw a unit this time, so Blight, unit, and we'll put the spell, I think, here? Yeah, and that draws me into the Bloodthirsty Blade, which is what I wanted to see. So I am going to put the Bloodthirsty Blade here just to start, even though it's not quick. That actually means he's getting hit now, which gives him more rage triggers, right? So I'm going to cast a couple Plinks here. Oh, actually, forgot about that. I'm not going to cast a couple Plinks there. We have the Incant guy on the bottom floor, which I don't really want to deal with. So there's no reason to be casting those if they're not going to kill. So yeah, the Spear Steward will do the same play. This and then the Bloodthirsty Blade, and yeah, we say go. I guess something I forgot to do is I could play Echo of the Time Father to have conserved both of those, and conserving both of those is fine because that means, especially if we draw these Awoken Railspikes, we can keep a bunch of cards in hand and then still infinitely draw the rest of the cards through our deck with that combo there. So again, we'll play a Blight, we'll play a Space Prism, and we're gonna play a spell. So we'll play probably a Steel Enhancer on you. And yeah, so now we're going to play another Awoken Railspike here for a bunch of mana, and oh look at that, we drew another Awoken Railspike, and now we're cooking with gas. In fact, we even draw the Ember Cache, which will give us a bit more gas, Steel Enhancer, and now we can just kind of go to town here. This guarantees me a Morsel if I kill it that way, so I'll do it that for that reason, and because I have a... Oh yeah, I forgot, Morsels are a card type, so that gets me a card draw, which also gives me an energy for this Awoken Railspike, which I will cast. Which draws me into the Primal Dust, which is costing 1 extra, so we pass that there, and yeah, so this is a bit of a... We've turned into a combo deck, as I'm sure you can see. I will put a Shield Steward there, even though I could be maybe putting Morsels. I don't think it matters too much anymore. Honestly, we're doing really hot. Yep, so there's another Excavated Ember, so that's why they're in the deck. So I will play a Blight, just to have one of the 3 type triggers, so Steel Enhancer. I still think that's... Oh, actually, no, it's not worth it, because like I mentioned before, Primordium actually passes on debuffs as well, so anytime Primordium gets sap and this gets sap, that doubles up the sap on this Shattered Shell, right? So I'm actually going to play the Steel Enhancer probably up here, I think, and then I'll have to make sure to cast my spells not on this floor. So first of all, this Excavated Ember into another one, into 7 mana, into the Awoken Railspike. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. We play a Blight. I mean, I might as well play these. I probably even shouldn't be playing those Planks, but it's just too fun. Okay, so a couple restores, Awoken Railspike, reduce the cost, play this, damage shield, maybe some more regen up here. Oh yeah, we're cooking with gas. We'll see if we can draw into a wick. Yeah, there it is, this Railspike once more. I think we are probably winning this fight. Just a thought. I did realize that, I actually just noticed this, so drawing one Awoken Railspike into another doesn't actually reduce the cost of an X spell, so that's something to keep in mind. I actually didn't know that, so that is a good kind of word of wisdom there for those of you who didn't know that, I guess, just like me. We'll still cast it, though. It still draws us into maybe more regen. Again, I'm not casting any of these spells on the Incant floor, because anytime you cast a spell with him, he saps. No reason to cast the... for that reason, there's no reason to cast the Planks. They're not going to hurt anyone. So yeah, we actually don't kill the Undying one, which we do want to be killing if possible, because whenever he ascends, he gains 6 more Reanimate, which get basically 6 more lives, right? So we should still be good here if I give him a bit more buffs. Especially I got this Awoken Rail... Yeah, actually... What am I drawing with this Awoken's Railspike that would win? I don't think anything. So actually I'm going to put this Prismal Dust here to get a bunch more attacks in, and then the Awoken Railspike, just to draw a couple more cards, maybe get some more regen or something. I'm surprised that... Yeah, I think the Corruption here is what's killing us, because that, again, takes away our shield twice as quick, right? So we still have some pretty powerful top floors here, though, so even though the bottom floor has failed us, we don't have to do anything up here, we just win. Because of all the damage, shield, and health we've been accumulating from the Emblem of the Exiles. So, yeah, that's kind of the plan here, right? Is we got a powerful bottom floor, and when that fails, our top floor is so tanky, we can just take out the boss pretty quick. So, what do we draw? We drew Engine Upgrade, so -1 on this floor, and 1 extra energy per turn for the rest of battle. We have ways to get our floor bigger already with these space prisms that we'll be drawing into with our Railspike, so this might actually be worth it. Again, these are kind of worth, but the Ember Cache is also fantastic, right? We're drawing so many cards that almost seems better. It does come with a Calcified Ember, but this is so powerful that it might still be worth it. The Engine Upgrade is, again, fine, but it's only 1 extra energy per turn. This could be potentially like 1 trillion extra energy, and when we have, and usually having all that extra energy doesn't do anything, but we have a lot of X spells, and Umbra as a clan likes to be getting big X spells, so even though we're getting a Calcified Ember out of this, I still take it. We're gonna get so much energy, we can just play this out and purge it. Again, this stays in your deck until you play it, or just get rid of it by any other method. So even though this is adding a random card that's pretty bad for us, I think it's still worth it. Store 25 health, draw 2 next turn, draw 1 each turn. While the Custodian here is not bad, we want to be drawing a lot of cards, because all our cards are going to be costing nothing, right? So that's fine. It only costs... I haven't really run that card too much either, so it's a good excuse to pick them up. This is definitely a deck for it. Awoken usually isn't great as a clan, but I think we take the Unstable Vortex here, because again, we want to be removing as many cards as possible. So that's definitely worth it, even though I think we lose out on some of the Pyre health here. I don't know if there are... There's a couple other schools of thought here, though, right? So there's also this Merchant of Arms, and I did mention earlier I wanted to put the Bloodthirsty Blade combined with the Quick unit, or with the Quick, to start scaling up this really quickly, which might actually be better on, because even though we are wanting to remove a lot of cards, I think we'll have ample opportunity to do so later on, and scaling up the Bloodthirsty Blade Quick is or Quicker rather, is going to be pretty good for us. I don't really like getting an Equipment of Room card here. I mean, a Room's fine, but... Yeah, I think I actually go left here, specifically to try to merge those two equipment. Let's check what's here first. Another Bloodthirsty Blade. I don't think I need that. A Void Armament is pretty good, though. Again, that gives you Multi-Strike 1, and if it dies, you get purged from your deck. The problem is that I would want to be putting that on the Shattered Shell, and as we've seen before, the Shattered Shell sometimes does just die to a boss. Even though it does a lot of damage and kind of carries the floor, it does pretty good against bosses, and then the rest of our floors are going to be what kills the boss. So if he dies, then we lose him, and that's going to be really bad for me, I guess is one way to put it. So I don't think I take that. As nice as it is, even though these are all great equipment, I don't think these are worth it. Merging a Void Ornament with the Bloodthirsty Blade is pretty gas, though. But I think the Quick is going to be more important. Quick plus Sweep is really good as a combination to kill the backline before they kill you at all, or even think about hurting you. Let's see what we get here. We get another Quick. I don't think that matters. We get Steward's Quarters, so trained stewards gain multi-strike and 20 attack. That's pretty good too. I still have some trained stewards, but I do want to kind of be getting rid of my trained stewards, right? Granting friendly units 15 attack is fine. It's not great. I don't have anything with multi-strike. I mean, I have the sweep unit, right? So, but he's already got like a bunch of attack. I think I actually do take the Fight Club, though, because now I'm thinking about it, another synergy in mind is if I put Fight Club, Primordium actually gets 15 attack from just being in the same room, which he'll then, again, accumulatively pass on to the front unit, right? So I think that's pretty good. So we will merge the Bloodthirsty Blade and this deployable Swift Steel Dagger, which will make a deployable merged equipment. that will continue to scale. And we could also deploy the Flight Club if we want. We have so much money, I think we do. Getting something like that out of my deck is also fine, or like rather playing it early on so it's not in my deck, so I can, you know, again draw these Awoken Railspikes. I'm not actually going to purge the Calcified Ember, because you can purge that just by playing it, and we're going to have so much energy and draw so many cards, I'm pretty sure I'll just be able to cast this and get rid of it. So I think this is the part of the game where I start removing other Spear Stewards then, especially since I'm not taking that Chamber. I'll remove a Spear Steward, I'll remove a Restore, I think. I could still remove, but I kind of want the rest of my money, I think. What am I going to next? So, we could go duplicate a card, so we could maybe duplicate another Awoken Railspike, and just, you know, keep doing that, but our problem is that we don't have a lot of payoff. We're drawing a lot of cards, but if we could put a bunch of X mana into, like, a Prismal Dust and get a bunch of damage shield, but even though that does kill a boss, it doesn't deal with people ascending. A Mind Collapse is pretty good, but it only deals the X damage to one unit. So it kills one thing pretty easily if you spend like 1 trillion mana into it, but you know, it's just one thing, not a whole floor. So Celestial Alcove plus Merchant of Magic could be good. Either of these paths are fine. It depends kind of what we get ahead. A Merchant of Steel plus a Duplicate up here would probably be the play once we actually get to closer to Seraph, so I think that's the play. So we'll just go to Kale here and see what he's got for us. So he's got Damage Shield this time around, which is fine. Again, Kale's pretty mid if you can just kill everything on the first floor instantly, which is kind of what we're doing. So I'm gonna just kind of deploy my first floor here pretty big for that reason. So we're gonna put a merged equipment here. The Fight Club will put out, and then we'll just put I think the Crucible Warden out, because he's got more health initially, and yeah, he's going to hit me for 22, which would kill the other unit. Although I guess the Emblem of the Exiles triggers before he hits, right? So we did draw the Awoken Railspike and the Prismal Dust, both of which are pretty good to be drawing early on. I think I do the Prismal Dust. I will just take the one from this Vengeful Shard, I think. I will take the Prismal Dust here just to get that damage shield stack going on, and then we could just preserve our hand with this Echo of the Time Father. It might be worth it, because then we can preserve this Railspike in our 22-card deck. So I think that's good enough that I just do it. Because even if we don't cast the Awoken Railspike this next upcoming turn, we can cast it whenever we want now that it's frozen. So it'll stay in our hand as long as it's frozen. So we did draw a Wildwood Custodian, which I'll put behind my tanky unit there to start drawing extra cards per turn. I kind of want to put a Crucible Collector on top so he starts gaining the extra health. So someone's gaining the health up there. So I actually don't know if this is an Awoken Railspike turn. It might still be, because none of these are great spells either. I mean, the Razor Sharp Edge is alright, don't get me wrong, but I think I'll cast one of these. It still gets me a lot of value. So one Spear Steward up here. I think we will add a space here to maybe get some extra units going on. And then yeah, well, I think you just cast these Pinks. I don't think it does too much, but you know, they're there. I'll cast them. And again, I could be casting this Awoken Railspike at any point, just to, even for 0 mana, just to draw 2. But I kind of want to keep it in hand for when I get, yeah, like these Ember Caches, right? So we'll buff up the Primordium a bit, and again, we can draw. I'll play a Vengeful Shard, because again, if we play 3, we draw from the Versatile Staff. And in this case, I think I will just play both Ember Caches to make the Awoken Railspike potentially even better later on. And then I think now is the time when I use this, when I cash in this Razor Sharp Edge to start giving even more attack. We have again, 300 attack on this guy already. It's pretty crazy at this early stage of the game. I know we're near Seraph already, but still. We're killing everything with ease. It's not that big of a problem. The problem will be mostly how much can he tank, and right now he's got 17 damage shield, so really I could sneeze and this guy would die. So Space Prism here, Awoken Railspike for 6. I should have played that differently when I think of it. I don't think it matters too much, but if you want to technically play optimally, to draw more cards, I should be probably casting an extra spell or two, maybe just one more spell. Of course, that does make it so I have less mana, but starting to put regen isn't bad either. Yeah, so you see what I mean by we'll be able to cast the Calcified Ember? We have a lot of mana. So I'm drawing all these Excavated Embers. I have 6 mana, cast this Vengeful Shard. How about more? Oh, hey, look at that. Another Awoken Railspike, and I have 7 mana. You're starting to see the power here. So steal this Awoken Railspike maybe for... I don't think we need to do it for 7. I think it's just overkill, really. I think we put a... Maybe I just put a Shield Steward here just to get it on my hand. It draws me a card because that's a unit, so even better. Put the Steel Enhancer there. I'll put a Restore on you just because I want to get 1 card in my hand. Another Railspike. So this. Yeah, we don't go infinite here or anything like that. We still have like 9 cards in our deck, so it's not literally a perfect combo, but it's definitely something we're doing here. I'll put a few more damage shield on there and just cast this Awoken Railspike just to draw 2 cards again. Put a couple more regen stacks. What I want to be doing here on my X spells is probably reducing their cost now so I can cast them even for 0 mana. So we do still have our Versatile Understep, so 1, 2, and if we draw a unit we get 3. I will cast the Railspike now. Restore, Steel Enhancer, Razor Sharp Edge, this, another Railspike. Razor Sharp Edge, Primordial Dust. We didn't draw any units, sadly, but that's fine. Theoretically, I probably should just play the Vengeful Spirit. I got it kind of too addicted to the gas there and took 1 damage, but really, I've got my bottom floor here is a 496, 172 with 98 rage, 36 damage shield, and 18 regen. I think I'm doing fine. We'll play this one. Spell. Plink, Steel Enhancer spell. Plink, spell, Plink. And again, I lost to the sauce. That's fine. This definitely, I'm pretty sure this definitely kills this poor cherub here. I feel bad for him. We'll cast the Vengeful Shard now so I don't get too lost. And then we'll cast that. And at this point, I really don't even need to go combo too much. I'll just put everything into the Prismal Dust here and just end turn. That's 559 attack, isn't it? We'll do that so we don't take any damage, just for funsies. A little bit of sauce, why not? This is just too fun. It's not even like necessary, right? Like, in fact, this is actually, I think, theoretically inoptimal because I want to be taking as much damage as possible because I forgot he's got the rage stack. So technically, just hitting pass here is all I need to do. Yeah, we're totally fine here. Okay, so Spreading Spores. Apply Regen 2 and Spikes 2. Add a copy of this card to your discard pile. That's not great with the... I don't think that's great with the Awoken Railspike, because that adds a bunch of cards into our deck that we don't really need to be wanting to add in our deck. It's a fun card, especially if you upgrade this. It's just not really necessary. However, that's an X spell. A pretty good one, too. The only problem with this one is we don't actually have a way to... Because it says trigger friendly feeding on a friendly morsel unit 3 times. So even though we can't actually trigger feeding on our Primordium because he's a champion, and we just cut a bunch of our Plinks, which is the only thing we have to make morsels. So even though this is a really good card, it comes with an Ember, and I don't have the means to support it right now. I don't think. Yeah, I think I just skip here. Unless I find something truly earth-shattering, this deck is already pretty powerful. For that reason, I may just go for another energy, just to, again, have more to pour into my spells. Or we could go for card draw. I think we go for card draw now, because we have a lot of energy with the embers we're drawing with. Just getting more cards in my hand is pretty powerful, so. Okay, so do we copy a card, or do we go into the Celestial Alcove here? Merchant of Magic would be alright. We could maybe upgrade these Ember Caches. If we can upgrade one of these Ember Caches to lose Consume and just keep putting Excavated Ember cards in our discard pile permanently, just forever, just continuously, that would be great. That's if we get at that, though, right? I don't really like this Merchant of Arms. I don't think that's great for me. Like, I already have an equipment and a room that I like. I could get more equipment and more rooms, but it's just not necessary. So I think I go right here. I take this, and before I go to the alcove, of course, I'll upgrade my stuff. Oh, look at that! Upgrade a spell to permanently remove Consume. Isn't that great? Let's put that on my Ember Cache. Oh, and Spell Chain, too. Why not? Yeah, so Spell Chain means we can cast this twice. I think that's pretty good. I think that's really good. I think I am building a combo deck now. I think I have built a combo deck. I will give something magic power and consume again, because again, this removes itself from the deck after it's cast that way, so it's less of a struggle. We don't actually need our spells to cost one less, unless it's an X spell maybe, because there's not really a downside to giving an X spell some minus cost, because then we can cast, like I said, we can cast this now for quote-unquote free, right, when we draw it. So we could remove a card from my deck to start thinning it out a bit more. Because what am I going to do next? I'm probably going to go to the Merchant of Steel, maybe duplicate my Awoken Railspike. I think that's the play, as I'm going right or left next turn. So bearing that in mind, I don't actually need to remove a card right now, I think. So, especially since it's $200. Going right would be great to remove 2 more cards, maybe, as well, though. So we'll consider it. We'll think about that one. Let's upgrade my champion first. I'll upgrade to, I think, a Buffet 8. Because that can go pretty silly style. I might actually go with the damage shield this time. Reason being, even though I have a lot of damage shield, there's no guarantee I'm drawing this card turn 1. I just got lucky the past couple times and did draw it turn 1. If something kills my Primordium, especially something like Corruption, which is coming up, that's going to be pretty bad for me. So I kind of want, even though the damage shield might not get passed on as much, I kind of want himself to have damage shield so he doesn't die, right? So I'm gonna go into the Celestial Alcove now. If we get someone to upgrade a spell, maybe like upgrade our Awoken Railspike with like some interesting Arcus. So Arcus is a really funny event. You can just keep offering Pyre Health to this guy, and the more Pyre Health you offer, the higher chance you have of getting, or you just keep getting artifacts. And when you get to full, it makes it so that your blights cost 0, I believe, or whenever you draw a blight, you draw a card, which is really powerful. We have full health. And we have a really powerful deck, so I'm actually gonna... Blights and Scourges cost... Would you look at that? So that's actually the first artifact we get from him. So we won that 50-50. Let's do it again. We didn't win that one. I'll just keep going. Didn't win that one. That's fine. 2 on the middle floor, or 2 capacity on the middle floor. That's fine. That's totally good. We actually didn't have any good capacity, too, so, yeah, Arcus stands before you fully restored, you have freed me, I owe you a debt. So when you draw a Blight or Scourge, gain 1 and draw a non-Blight or a non-Scourge card. This actually is really funny, because this combined with the Sinner's Salve means that Blights are good for us. Anytime we draw a Blight, we're getting an energy, drawing a non-Blight card, and then we play the Blight for free. So, this actively means that we want to be drawing Blights, which is not something I've ever had before, which is pretty funny. So, now if we see a card that has a Calcified Ember, we are actively encouraged to take it, I think. Or at least maybe not actively encouraged, but encouraged a little bit, so. Kind of an interesting deck we have pieced together now. I'm really glad we didn't go full into the, even though we of course have the Rage guy in the bottom carrying us, we are still doing some pretty interesting things with this deck, right? So, we'll play the Shackles. Cost 0 because of the Sinner's Salve. No reason not to. Primordial, Fight Club, Shell with the equipment, and then Lifesteal, then Damage Shield. This is a pretty good setup. Okay, so yep, we drew the Blight, so it drew us an extra card for free, basically, and gave us an extra energy for free, which is fantastic. So, that's more energy to go into our Awoken Railspikes and things like that. But we don't want to be casting those yet, because I have this Ember Cache, so I want to be casting this first. Because I don't want to go off, I want to go off. So I'm going to cast 3 Ember Caches. We'll put more room space here. And at this point, I think I want to start getting the damage shield up, because we want to be getting that up as quickly as possible to start protecting the Shattered Shell. Because he really only, even though he's crazy strong, he only still has 25 health. He gets killed by a stiff breeze. And then I think I don't actually cast this Awoken's Railspike. I think I freeze this. I think I freeze both of these. And end turn. I never really liked Echo the Time Father, but in this deck exactly, specifically, it's really good. So, kind of funny how that works out. We'll put a Wildwood Custodian here, draw more cards. Again, we'll start buffing up. We drew an extra card from our Versatile Staff. We're drawing a lot of cards. That's the moral of the story. Again, we don't need to be casting Plink or anything like that. I think at this point I will cast one of the Railspikes. Yeah, that's fine. And we will cast that. I'll cast these just because they're 0 mana. And getting something like a more Sluxivator is totally fine. So, we'll put some more regen. I'm actually going to put one on you, because you actually kind of need the healing as well. This also heals 4 on top of giving regen. All the buffs go on my Primordium. That's kind of what we're doing here, is we're drawing a bunch of cards. It doesn't seem like we're doing anything with those cards, but we kind of are. We're just buffing this Primordium and this Shattered Shell even further with all these protections, right? So, protection combo, I guess, is the name of the game here. I'm not going to cast this here because that's got an incant trigger, which is kind of sad, actually, because our whole deck is about casting a trillion spells. Honestly, I think we're still one-shotting him. And we still have damage shield, so it actually doesn't matter how strong these guys get, because the damage shield protects regardless of how much attack they have, right? So I'm actually totally fine casting spells here. Let's put a Shield Steward in the middle, because we have that extra space, which draws us a card, which means we can put, I guess, a Spear Steward in the middle, just to get him out of the deck, right? Later on, I want to be cutting. Honestly, I usually have all my Shield Stewards cut by this point, but... Okay, so we drew the Ember. We drew this again because it doesn't have Consume, so our deck is filled with Excavated Embers, so I kind of wish I didn't use the Echo of the Time Father so I could freeze all these X cards and then next turn just cast a trillion of them. I still think it's good to cast an Awoken... or we could just do it this turn. Excavated Ember, 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 Excavated Ember. I think you get the idea. And I would like to apply, I don't know, maybe 19 damage shield to that unit, something like that. I think that's pretty good. I don't know, what do you think? This run's pretty nuts. Sometimes it happens, by the way. Sometimes you just everything just absolutely works together. Sometimes it just falls into your lap. Sometimes it doesn't. But again, knowing how to see the lines, like what I did this game that's winning me so far is figuring out that the Awoken Railspike combo was something I wanted to build towards, and then building my entire deck towards that, right? Like, this didn't put itself together. I did see the potential, and then have to know the potential existed for this to happen before being able to capitalize on it, right? So, drawing 13 here is kind of funny. I don't actually know if it does anything. My hand's gonna get full, right? So... And we actually didn't kill this guy yet, so I'm actually going to cast some Plinks on this floor to get rid of this Spell Shield a little bit. Because if I get rid of this Spell Shield, I can Mind Collapse for a trillion. Wow, Mind Collapse for 11 only deals 36 damage? That's actually really weak. That's kind of sad, actually. I mean, you gain the 2 energy if you kill something, right? That's the downside. I might need a better damaging X spell. Once upon a time, I ran Moonfall, I think it's called, which deals 20 per stack. That one was great. Anyway, I would like to draw 13 cards. Enough cards to go off the screen. I would like to put more Excavated Embers in my deck, please. I would like to gain all the energy I just got back. Oh yeah, now we're cooking with gas. And this is free now too, by the way. So I'm getting pretty close to infinite. I'm not infinite yet, but I might as well be. At this point, you just kind of have to see what you can do with it. Even, yeah, another Awoken Railspike I think is the play. I can just keep doing this, right? So, and then keep applying attack, keep applying that. And by continuing to apply attack, this actually has a purpose. If I can get to 500 attack on the Shattered Sheller, I can just one-shot this Avowed Gladiator, right? So... and by applying attack on the Primordium will also attack the Gladiator too, so. More regen. And then I want to hit some Plinks up here, because I want to get rid of that damage shield again. Because maybe another Plink could just kill him. Okay, so, here's another Awoken Railspike. I'd like to draw all the cards again. And again, these are all losing mana cost as they get drawn, so, you know, if these were 3-cost cards, they'd be 0 cost now, so. There's potential for me here to even start to just, how do I put this, draw, or get a bunch of 3-cost spells now, because those will just be really discounted if I can play them eventually. I don't know, though. It's hard to say. Oh, I forgot you're dying. That's funny. Oh, it's because I cast a bunch of spells here. These all 40 attack. Oh, that's really funny. That's not great for me. Okay, so I can Mind Collapse, get 2 energy. It doesn't do anything, but it does mean that I have 1 less damage shield trigger. I do have to find a way to kill these units, though, now. This one specifically. Which shouldn't be too hard, but I really don't want that to get to the pyre. It'd be really funny if I just incanted myself to death there, wouldn't it? Excavated Ember, Excavated Ember, Excavated Ember. I think if I get... Okay, there's the Mind Collapse. I think if I get enough energy here, I can just Excavated Ember him to death, maybe? That's 5 attack. I don't really want to be doing that, do I? Still doesn't kill you. It's kind of sad. This actually deals 4, so that's technically more than just 1 extra stack of this. I think in that case I have to use the Railspike again and just hope I draw into more gas. Which, you know, of course I will, but... So I guess also what I do here is I start putting Razor Sharp Edges on you to deal a bit more damage. So, Razor Sharp, Steel Enhancer... Yeah, I don't think I can lose here, but I'll be honest, I was feeling a little scared about that. Regardless. Blink. And another Railspike. I think we just put energy into the Railspike again. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a way I can lose here. Especially now that I have 12 energy. I think I could just straight draw my deck. I mean, if I had infinite hand size, this would be infinite at this point. Okay. Still doesn't... I think this kills now, if I really wanted it to. But I... I'm gonna do what I want to do, so which is cast more spells, I think. I can't get too carried away here. I'll be here all day. This video will be 7 hours. Okay. Let's do it again. I think we'll do a couple more loops of this, and then I'll have to give up the ghost here. I don't actually know if I'm gaining more energy here, technically. I think I'm kind of just going neutral now at this point, because I'm still casting all those embers. The thing that is nice, is actually kind of winning me here, is these plinks, honest to god. I could literally just plink this guy to death. I think if I go far enough, I could just plink him to death. That's not really fun, so I'll just deal with him this way, and then I think we'll just spend the rest of the energy on a bunch of damage shield here now. And I think we'll just be fine with that. We'll just have to say that that's enough. We flew about as close to the sun as we wanted. Yeah, we do need to kill you again. Oh, you just died to that, so that's fine. Of course, let's cast on the bottom floor here. No enchant triggers. Razor Sharp Edges. Steel Enhancers. We also got a little lucky that some of our initial starting cards were pretty good with Awoken Railspike. Not great, but you know, they do work. So, here we go. Here's the Ember Cache. Here's the Plink. At this point, I'm just tossing spells in the air, and eventually this will kill you. I should have cast these Excavated Embers first. If I was being optimal, that is. Which I don't really think I need to anymore. Restore, Excavated Ember, Vengeful Shard, Plink, Ember Shard, Steel Enhancer. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, we'll just get our damage shield to 100, I think. I think that's fine, and we'll just say go. So, we only got one more turn anyway. I'm pretty sure we win here. So, you know, just cast these Vengeful Shards for free, and then just, GG. I kind of want something to make it so this loop is meaningful, right? Like, I'm drawing all these cards, but at the end of the day, I'm not actually doing too much with the cards themselves. They're just dealing 1 or 2 damage each. So, even though I'm kind of going infinite, I might grab something that deals damage just to speed things up a bit. Again, I'm kind of passing here, just because our deck's, you know, you may not like it, but this is what peak deck performance looks like. Let's see. I don't really want to be removing cards from my deck, I think. And I think that's because we kind of, as you kind of saw, we're already kind of doing it. Like, we kind of don't, everything in here is totally fine. I think for that reason we duplicate another card, and we probably either duplicate the Railspike, or we duplicate another X spell that can just kill something. Maybe even the Ember Cache, because that could just draw me more. Ooh, actually, you know what? It might be the merged equipment. Because, we have all the energy, all the things in the world, but duplicating something with 91 attack and quick for 2 mana is pretty powerful, so we might just put that on another unit, and then just let that help carry. So upgrade Unity and Dualism. Is anything like Dualism here? This gains Lifesteal 2 or Damage Shield 2. We're not actually hitting these Gorge triggers anymore, because we're not really getting the morsels from the Plinks anymore, because the Plinks are, again, only dealing 2 damage. The Plinks will eventually, like, technically speaking, if I just keep casting Plinks, they will just kill anything, and will just give me as many morsels as they want, but no one wants to, I don't think you guys want to see that. So I think the play here is maybe I take... I also have a lot of money. So before I buy anything there too, I'm also going to take a look at the Merchant of Trinkets here. Unit cards without upgrades cost 1 less. Most of our cards don't have upgrades. I mean, none of them do. But I'm about to put a bunch of upgrades right onto my units, so I don't think that's great. We play your 20th morsel of the turn, deal 200 damage to units. Again, technically speaking, if I'm going infinite, this will just deal 200 whenever I want. But I'm not going to have you guys watch me. I also don't want to do that. I'm not gonna cast 700 Awoken Railspikes just so I can plink everything for 2 damage, 2 at a time, so it dies. You could. That's if you play Blue, White, and Magic, but I'm not going to do that. I will take Trained Stewards, get the Boom ability, because I still technically have a couple Trained Stewards in my deck, and it's not the end of the world. This is useless. We're not getting any new cards. Deal 3 piercing damage whenever an enemy unit moves between floors, and whenever a friendly unit is healed, deal damage to the front enemy unit equal to the amount healed. We do have a bunch of regen with how much regen we're stacking. So I think I actually take the Priory's Cloak. It's totally fine here. I don't know if Jack Strips is necessary. It might be. I actually could take the Jack Strips, and the reason is because I don't remember if there's reanimate units on this Seraph. This is Seraph of Dominion, who again applies corruption to my units, right? So if some of his units have reanimate, then my big leafy boy with his big knife, hitting them for 1 hit will not kill them. It will take them to 1 HP with a reanimate. So having something that will then deal an extra trick of damage with the Jack Strips or the Priory's Cloak could be game winning, honestly. Removing a card here for 200 isn't bad, but first of all, let's check to see if there's anything else I want to be doing here. I want to be giving my Shattered Shell another upgrade. I think a large stone isn't terrible. Multi-strike would be ideal. If I could get multi-strike with quick, that would probably end the game. So I might just reroll to see if I can hit multi-strike, because dualism isn't great on anything else here. I guess dualism is great on the Shattered Shell. It would have been great. Oh, actually, wow. Never mind. I'm gonna do this. I forgot that this. So one thing that dualism does is, it permanently gains Rage 2, but also it doubles the Rage stacks it already has. So we'll just do that. Again, this is only 1 hit, and if I pull multi-strike, I'll feel bad about this a little bit. See, multi-strike, right? So it's not. But again, we're still getting the double revenge triggers, so it's not the end of the world that we did that. Upgrading unit with multi-strike 1. So I think we put that on the Crucible Collector because he's going to be the stronger of the two. And again, we can maybe give him something like Damage Shield 3, I think. Actually, we'll put the Damage Shield 3 on the Custodian because our cards are going to be getting a lot of Corruption on them, right? So the Corruption is going to kill our tiny units pretty hard. So 3 extra turns of having that guy be alive from Corruption is pretty fine. 3, we could also give something 10 and spikes. I think the guy with damage shield getting spikes is pretty good. You know, you hit him and you hurt yourself instead. Why are you hitting yourself? And then I think we need to upgrade a unit with Endless if we want to. We could upgrade a Spear Steward with Endless. Oh my god. I think I see the vision here. I don't know if you guys see the vision, but I see the vision. And the vision is, I think I finally got some damage. So I have I just got an ability that says deal 50 damage to the front enemy and sacrifice a Trained Steward. And I just put on my Trained Steward the ability to explode and kill himself and put himself on the top of the deck. I have a card that can draw. I think you see what's happening here. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I will probably merge at this point. Yeah, I think it's just another. I think it actually just is the Shattered Shell. There's no way it isn't. I don't think that's even with that equipment being that powerful. I still think the Shattered Shell now with dualism is so strong that it's just you have to take it. Okay, so we're pointing a Seraph here. This is the Seraph that. Oh, you know what? I'm starting to regret my decision. I guess I could apply a bunch of damage shield onto one of my Shattered Shells, but only one of these is getting the damage shield from the Primordium, right? So. Cast the Savage Shackles for free because of our artifacts. Primordium into... I think we're still doing a pretty traditional setup here. Shattered Shell, Merged Equipment, yeah, 524, or 554, pardon me. And again, the Fight Club here so we can eat that. And so put down... Yeah, I think it's really the same. Although now we have the Shattered Shell, right? I think we put the Shattered Shell up here, and then even though, again, this takes damage... You know, he gains when he gets hurt. I think I'm actually just gonna not put him in the front, just because he only has 10 health. And instead put maybe a Crucible Warden in front. Something that can tank. I mean, I guess I wasn't thinking about this. I still have my initial artifact that makes it so I almost forgot about that. That gives me 15 extra health per turn. So I could do something like put one of them on the top floor and then he gains health, and put one on the bottom floor and then he gains health. Of course, this sucks a bit if Seraph wants to party on the top floor, because then I have to find some way to deal with him pretty immediately, but we'll see how this works. Seraph does want to party on the top floor, which would kill this guy. Of course, if we get some damage shield on him, that would maybe stop it, and we do have a pretty powerful way to get damage shield. So we'll start our combo. So Ember Cash, Ember Cash. I think I cast the Railspike now. Yeah, these applying corruption to my front unit's also kind of nasty, I'll be honest with you. We did draw the Spear Steward as well, the one I was talking about with the Endless Boom. So this is also a very good, dummy unit, so... I think I put a Space Prism down here. And then I think I boom Awoken Railspike. One of these are going to be my Spear Steward, who now costs 0. So we do that again. And we don't necessarily need to boom him every turn. He just goes to the top of the deck, right? So, okay, so regen 5 onto the Primordium so we can keep stacking that. And again, we'll start casting that. Oh yeah, those triggers are happening. He's getting healed for 0, but that's from the heal artifact I have. I was wondering what that was. Because we're about to give 2 damage shield to the front here, I actually don't know if I give the damage shield here or if I give the damage shield up here. I think I actually give it up here because this guy's about to be corrupted by Seraph a bit. And if we do corrupt Seraph, it's not really good for us. So I will cast the Mind Collapse just because it gives me 2 extra energy here. To get an extra one of these, and maybe a Plank kills something. No, it doesn't. Yeah, and again, we don't care that Train Steward's gonna keep dying. He costs 0 mana, and he's basically just our fodder unit now at this point. So yeah, put him in the front. Boom. Ember Cash. Maybe put this Crucible Collector up here in case we do happen to get morsels for some reason. And then this is an Awoken Railspike. For sure. Okay, that's a couple more morsels, so we cast this so we can play those morsels. Now we can actually start feeding these Crucible Wardens, maybe. I think I kind of toss you in front of the bus here. The Seraph bus. I don't really care if these guys die. They're kind of fodder. I want my deck to be thin anyway, right? So could just boom you. I don't see a need to right now. Honestly, the boomed plan is only okay, since I'm not drawing a bunch of Railspikes and all that. I mean, now I'm thinking about it, putting this on top of my deck means I have less chance of drawing the actual Railspikes, so... Hey, it's a fun idea. So we'll put the Razor Sharp Edge here. Okay, so we did draw our Wildwood Custodian. We'll put him in the back line up there with his damage shield. And we did start drawing some of these Embers, so this is still kind of useful to us. We'll put 1 extra slot here in case we need it. I think I tossed the Spear Steward there. Boom him when I want, just not now. Yeah, I'm actually starting to see the downsides of this. Oh, I actually got 2 Blink triggers off of that. That's fine. In that case, I'll put 1 here, 1 here, maybe. Yeah, you're seeing there, one of the guys survived with Reanimate. So they do actually have Reanimate triggers, and so when they hit 1 and go up a floor from the Jack strips, that just kills them. So that's pretty good. We did draw the Awoken Railspike along with all the excavated numbers we could ever want, so now we're finally going off. Yeah, so I like the idea of the Boom Steward, but it's not really necessary. It's like I could keep endlessly casting him, but like what does that accomplish, right? So Ember Cash, Ember Cash. Okay, so I don't think there's any incant triggers in the bottom here, so I think I can just cast to my heart's content. It's possible the play here is actually put 17 Prismal Dust on my, or 19 Prismal Dust on my top Shattered Shell here, because this guy has already got 7, so he's fine. He's quick, so he doesn't matter. But if for some reason Seraph manages to kill my bottom unit here, I kind of want a powerful top floor. Plus, I could still cast these Awoken Railspikes. I can even freeze them if I want, I guess. So, in fact, that's what I'll do. I'll freeze both of these spikes and then cast them for more next turn. I think this also applies for the rest of the game, too, right? So now these just are frozen for the rest of the game if I did ever want to cast them later on, just for any reason. Again, we'll apply more attack there, more Ember Cash. We kind of cast this for free. It'll give us way more energy and cards in the long term. Okay, just again stop and do Prismal Dust here. It's never bad. And we'll still cast one of the spikes, I think. Plink does get a kill there, so do that. Cast a few of these. Another Awoken Railspike. Draws me my deck again, right? So I think we start plinking. All right. We're not really doing too much through all this, but what we are doing is technically getting a few more of those. It's really interesting. The actual hard carry of this combo is this Steel Enhancer, this unupgraded 0-mana Steel Enhancer, just giving me 4 extra attack. That's what the loop is actually generating out of all this, right? So even though it's like a pretty infinite loop, it's not actually doing too much, at least at the current moment, right? So I think I'll cast another Awoken Railspike. I think at this point I'm getting pretty close to finishing this loop. I guess we're also getting Plink triggers out of it too, right? And at this point, I think this is enough. We'll just do that. Alright, so Steel Enhancer, Steel Enhancer. I could go forever doing this. This is fun. I hope you're having fun watching this. I am. Blink. Just for fun, I'll cast one more Railspike for X equals a trillion. And we'll still cast this, because even though we're casting it for X is 0, it still draws us some cards. See? I'm pretty sure this is infinite. It might just be infinite at this point. I haven't actually even looked. I might just be a hamster running on a wheel at this point. I'll end this loop soon, I think. If I get my my Ember excavating again, maybe I'll cast that and be done with it. Oh, we did actually get a more. Hey, look at that! We generated one morsel out of that. That little guy. That's worth it. Don't you like the little guy? I like the little guy. You should like the little guy too. Okay, so I think we'll just cast Prismal Dust and then cast a 0-mana Railspike. Well, if you insist. If you insist. And then we'll just cast this for. I think we'll cast this here to take him down to 1, because that triggers Reanimate. So which actually does matter, a slight bit. That is. Again, we're killing this Seraph pretty hard. So. Did you miss me? I'm back. That's the Amber Cash talking there. Hiya! This one's got multi-strikes, so there's actually some value in hitting this. Also, the Restores are also technically dealing damage to Seraph there too, right? With my healing artifact. Death by a trillion cuts. I'm pretty sure we're good against the Titans. One thing that's going to be really good is this combo will do some serious work against the damage shield on the Titan of Dominion, I think. The Plinks will just keep killing him. Really, though, this guy's at 1,000 attack. I could sneeze, and this is fine. So, in the interest of just ending the game, I'll hit end turn here. Move on to the last round. Alright, do I win the game? I win the game. We're hitting end turn. I'm not gonna subject everyone to 10 more minutes of me doing that. Except for right now, after I beat the Titans, so. Titan time. Alright. Who would win? 3 of the greatest Titans of all of reality, or 1 plinky boy? Alright. Primordium, Fight Club. This Shattered Shell is the stronger one, so we'll put him on the bottom there. We'll put this one in the middle. Merged equipment here, and I think a Crucible Warden, or this Crucible Collector on top, rather. Alright, come at me. What do you got? Quite a bit. Yeah, you die initially, so that's kind of bad, isn't it? Steel Enhancer there. I did draw both of my Railspikes, so that's kind of gas, honestly. I think I just play them right now. Because it's incredibly important that I don't die on turn 1 here. Oh, there's my Ember Cache, and I just reduced it to 0 mana. That's pretty good. I think I actually needed to put the room space here to have a Spear Steward to maybe tank. That might have been the correct play, because now I think my dude just dies. See, this is what I kind of meant, right? So it's like, if we don't draw the damage shield initially, I've been really lucky these past couple times, right? Where I just drew the damage shield on turn 1. If I just draw, and I have to do the Space Prism here. So if I just draw the, what do you say? If I just draw the, damage shield spell, whatever it's called, that helps me out. That starts to get this loop going pretty quick. But he's only got 25 health. The only thing that's been keeping him alive is a trillion damage shield. He's got nothing else going on. So cast one of you for a unit trigger, Steel Enhancer, Railspike. See, now we have a Spear Steward. So I think I'm gonna blow up the Spear Steward and then cast another Railspike, just so I can put him back in front. Heal 50 that way. Put you in the bus here as well. Again, I don't really care about these Shield Stewards too much. Wow, you're still dying. Oh, because you have Trample, don't you? Isn't that it? I think if I give you a Steel Enhance, you might win. Because wait, this is trampling for 15, so this will kill me. This will deal 10 to me, and this will deal 20. So yeah, actually, wow. Huh. I think that means I need to be putting all of the Steel Enhancers, in order to survive this turn, I think I need to be putting all of the Steel Enhancers on the actual Shattered Shell here to survive. Alternatively, I could put the Wildwood Custodian, but I don't know how Trample works with Damage Shield, actually. So, I don't know how that interacts. I don't know if it absorbs at all or not. Space Prism on the bottom here, Awoken Railspike. Okay, so Spear Steward. And then we put the other Steel Enhancer here, and you barely survive. Which is fine. Well, that's all we need. Is as soon as after this, and he moves to the next floor, we can start getting a bunch of damage shield racking up here, and that'll start to actually mean something, right? So, I will cast the second Railspike here, because we get the caches out of it, right? And I think I plink the boss a couple times, and then the plinky for 40. This will help speed up the clock a bit on killing Dominion here, which is usually, in my opinion, the one you kill last, unless you have this crazy spell that kills him in one hit. You don't have any units up there, right? So if you have a unit-based deck, he's going to be the last one you kill. So Ember Cache, and then one Steel just under the bus there, and there we go. So now everyone's living, and we're happy to enter. Okay, so Vengeful Shard. We will have to keep casting these Curses of Entropy, I think. Again, sapping kind of sucks with this Primordium, because we'll be passing on the sap trigger. I don't think it matters that much though, because again, this is 700 damage. It really, at the end of the day, it's, you know, Coughing Baby versus Hydrogen Bomb sort of deal. I can even start putting, I can still keep putting these, yeah, actually I'm fine, I'm totally glad I put Endless on this then, because I can still put these Shield Stewards under the bus to make it so these Shattered Shells at least survive. Speaking of that, this actually needs some healing, and healing hurts my enemies, so I'll do that. Razor Sharp Edge, and we didn't draw anything crazy, so I'm actually going to give the regen to... Yeah, I'll give the regen to you, because you actually need to be healed a little bit. So does the back one, I guess. I could have maybe given it to this particular friend here. Yeah, I don't like the sap very much. It's kind of hurting me a lot. We will be casting these Pyrelights every turn. Something that's good to know is that we do actually draw and get an energy every time we draw one of those Entropy Curses, so it actually helps our Primal Dust, ironically. Vengeful Shard, Spear Steward to help tank. Yeah, and you have the damage shield here, so you actually survive a turn, so every little bit matters. Do you die? You do die if I put you there. Let's give you a bunch of damage shield. I might do that later. Just to spread the damage shield around. Because one of the ways we could lose this is if Savagery kills one of our lanes and starts dealing 5 to our Pyre. That could just suddenly hurt us out of nowhere. I'm pretty confident we just win, but you never know, so. Okay, so, see if we can blink one of these? No, we didn't. So in that case, yeah, I think I will put all the Prismal Dust, because we can, again, we can apply a trillion damage shield, but because this is quick, it's not really taking too much. It's just taking the damage from this Titan of Entropy, which, since we have all this damage shield left and a couple more triggers of Eaton left, I think we just put a Prismal Dust on top. Save this guy. And just have it, just call it there. I should have cast that spell, if I was being optimal, I should have cast that spell technically on the, not just on the random unit, but on the Dominion here. You never know. If Dominion survives at 1 HP and I am about to lose, then I'll feel really silly when I... They seem like small things until you until one time you encounter a fight where you literally have to take a boss to 1 HP and then that's it. That's all. You're just done for. So we drew both of our Railspikes here, so we'll still healing this guy because this will also deal damage to Entropy. But Plank. At this point, I think we've won pretty handily. So let's do a victory lap, shall we? Excavated Ember, Excavated Ember, Excavated Ember, Vengeful Shard, Vengeful Shard, Vengeful Shard. Steel Enhancer on you, I guess, because we'll get you some more health. Restore, hurt you. Blink the Titan. Another more Embers. Draw a Billion. Excavated Ember. Heal. Heal. This, Razor Sharp, Excavated Ember, this, Ember, this, Ember, this, Blink you. We're just gonna keep going for a couple more loops, I think. I built the deck, I'm allowed to be a little self-indulgent with it. Couple more damage there. I guess we could end with like 35 damage here or something like that if we really wanted to, but I mean the damage shield's probably just better, right? In fact, this guy probably needs damage shield just in case, 'cause you never know, right? So I think I'll put the damage shield here, another Railspike just because it's free. Plank, and then Excavated Ember, this, Excavated Ember, Excavated Ember, Excavated Ember, heal you, and then I think we Mind Collapse the Dominion just to start dealing a bit more damage to him. These guys are about dead, right? In fact, Entropy is dead now. For those of you who are unaware of how... Oh, actually, we win the game right now, this very instant. So I'll save everyone a bit of drama here. So something that's... So this is... I'm winning this game either way, but just a fun little PSA just to show you how this works. Razor Sharp Edge applies 10 attack and minus 2 HP. So something that you can do here is, so these Entropy Titans cannot be hurt at 1 HP until all of them are killed, right? You know what you can do? You can lower its max health. So, don't feel great about doing that, but it was either that or you guys get to watch another 20 minutes of me just comboing off, right? So, I hope you learned something today. I hope you pick 2 Awoken Railspikes in your next climb to Covenant 10, and thank you for watching. Have a good day.